Well, hey there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If this is the very first time you've seen my channel, yay, you made it. You found me. I'm so glad. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, you're back. Thank you so much for all of your support. So, the movie I'm reviewing today is called Dumb Money. This dramedy based on a true story is now playing in theaters. The film is definitely rated R, and it's an hour and 45 minutes. My overall movie review mom grade is, I think, a B. I'm going to sit with that. Let me explain why. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents. And by the way, this movie is not appropriate for kids. That's the bottom line with that. But I'll give you more details in just a second. And then interesting lines, funny lines, and recommendations for some other films that are sort of similar that you might also like, or you might even like it better than this one. So first of all, in a nutshell, Dumb Money is the ultimate David versus Goliath tale based on the insane true story of everyday people who flipped the script on Wall Street and got rich by turning GameStop, the video game company, into the world's hottest company for a time during the pandemic. The film was directed by Craig Gillespie, and writing credits go to Lauren Schuker, Bloom, Rebecca Angelo, and Ben Mesrich. So let me give you, first of all, some tips for parents. Kids, I think, are going to be completely bored hearing about stocks, and that's what the movie's all about. More importantly, the dialogue and the lyrics to the soundtrack are just filthy and profane. We also see a lot of crude images and gestures throughout the entire film. So many F-bombs. A young kid flips the bird. Lesbians are shown kissing and saying crude things. Some Spanish is spoken with subtitles. Now, that's not a terrible thing. That's just a heads up for kids. But we also see two naked men running from behind. And it's dark, so thankfully we don't see a whole lot. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well in the movie are money, power, investing, company, corporate greed, social media, hope, class warfare, and government intervention. So there were a lot of things I really liked about this film. First of all, the lineup of actors is fantastic and includes Paul Dano, Pete Davidson, Vincent D'Onofrio, America Ferrera, Nick Offerman, Anthony Ramos, I love him in anything, Seth Rogen, Talia Ryder, Sebastian Stan, Shailene Woodley, Mahala Harold, Clancy Brown, and so many more. They all created very quirky, fun characters and did an outstanding job. So remember the Winklevoss twins in the movie The Social Network? Well, they're two of the executive producers for this movie. They got into a legal battle with Mark Zuckerberg, which became famous and which was written about in the book called The Accidental Billionaires, written by Ben Mesrich. So it's Ben Mesrich, who also wrote the book called The Antisocial Network, which was what inspired this movie. I thought it was really funny that the waitress in one of the earlier scenes knew about stocks and investing. And that's part of the fun of the film, is seeing these regular people who you would never think would be into the stock market and investing and, learning and watching videos about all of this stuff, that it became the story of the true underdog. So who doesn't love a story about an underdog movie, especially when people who are struggling in the economy can stick it to the man? And that's what it feels like in this film. So the movie, I thought, does a great job illustrating the nuances of living in a pandemic. So even if you don't completely understand the investment world, you're still going to enjoy the story that shows the little guy beating out supposedly smarter Wall Street experts. So thanks to a real life video clip of the Stephen Colbert Show, the film explains what a short sell is and what a short squeeze is, because you hear those terms many times throughout the movie, and you start to get an idea of what it is, and then he kind of explains it in a nutshell and does a really good job. There's a lot of visual humor as well as spoken humor. We also get to see video clips of the real people involved in these events at the end of the movie, and I always really enjoy that. Now, with all of that praise, there were just a few things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done better. For example, the real Ken Griffin is entrenched in a lawsuit right now over how his character was portrayed by Nick Offerman in the film. Now, I suppose a lot of the characters probably could have gone into a lawsuit, but he's the one that has gotten into the legal quagmire about this. There are so many characters to keep track of, and some of them get more screen time than others. And in the beginning, you're like, wait, is this person important? Do I need to know about this person? Or, and even still, there's not enough time to really develop all of the intricacies and nuances of these characters. But at the end of the movie, we get to see how much money did they end up with after everything was said and done, which I thought was really fascinating. Some viewers have complained that this movie has come out too soon, that there hasn't been enough time since these events. I mean, this just happened a couple of years ago, really. So what do you think? Is it too soon? We maybe if they had waited longer, we could have heard even more about, for example, how this lawsuit gets resolved and that kind of thing. Or do you remember hearing about it, but not being involved with it, and now you're just kind of curious? So I spent a lot of money buying video games for my 4 sons over the years at this company, GameStop. I stood in line before Christmas trying to buy that hot game that was, in demand, and it was hard to get copies of GoldenEye, I remember specifically. So it's too bad that I didn't invest during this unprecedented rise in stock. It was vaguely on my radar, but not enough for me to take the time and research it and start investing. And so too bad, sad for me. Boomers might be annoyed by all of the raunchy millennials. I think every single character in this movie was dropping F-bombs like crazy. And I was like, now I know good people who have clean mouths, not potty mouths, also invest, but we didn't see any of those people in the movie. And just the attitude that these millennials have, especially towards the older billionaire investors who had played the game for decades. There's that kind of a dynamic in the film. Now, whenever I watch movies, I always take notes, and especially I'm writing down funny lines and interesting lines to share with you so you can get a taste for the dialogue and script writing quality. And you can see them all in my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So one of the funny lines is this character, his name is Chris. He's played by Larry Owens. And one of his coworkers is talking about this investment opportunity and how she's really excited. And he says, she's showing him the videos, and she's like, he says, I wouldn't take investment advice from a guy in a cat t-shirt, and this guy who's telling you the inside scoop and you should probably invest in this, he doesn't look like Wall Street. And so you're like, I don't know. And that's part of the fun, is this was a guy who found a little missing gap and was wondering, is Wall Street paying attention to this? Am I the only one who's seeing this? Anyway, and so it's really interesting. Then some interesting lines are, one is spoken by Briggsy, who's played by Dennis, Dennis is his last name. And he says, you never bet against Wall Street. Well, obviously, that's exactly what happens in this movie. And in fact, at the end of the movie, there's another line that says, on the screen, it says in written words, quote, Wall Street will never be able to ignore the dumb money again. And they explain at the beginning of the movie that dumb money is what they call, people who don't know what they're doing. They don't have degrees in finance and investing. And it's just a regular old Joe Schmo who's tossing money at stocks. And they call that dumb money. And they say that with derision. And so not the case anymore. Another moment we see a bunch of TV reporters and they're saying, you know, what's going on, and this is getting a ton of buzz. And so this one TV reporter says, you are now witnessing the French Revolution of finance. Like, this is just unprecedented. And that's why it is driving so much excited buzz. And then I love the line at the end where you see Keith Gill, the real Keith Gill, talking about the stocks when he is talking to Congress. And he says, as for me, I like the stock. And you hear his character say that in the movie as well. All right, so let me give you some recommendations for a couple of movies I instantly thought of while watching this. They are equally foul-mouthed, quick talking, and all about finance and Wall Street. The first one is called The Big Short, and it's done very, very well. Both of these are done very well. The first one of its kind was The Wolf of Wall Street, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And you get, it breaks the fourth wall, so characters are speaking to the audience, which is entertaining, and you get educated on some of this Wall Street stuff as well in that one. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. If my reviews are helpful and they give you some inside scoop on whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching this movie, give my video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps my YouTube channel to grow, and that allows YouTube to recommend it to more people. And so that's very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.